Welcome back to my channel. We are in for a massive couple of weeks with free agency opening today. Trade period starting next Monday. It is going to be huge. There's storylines everywhere. DeKoning and Jack Silvani have officially lodged their papers. They're gone. James Worpel has officially lodged his papers to go to Geelong. He's gone. Christian Petrarca has chosen the Suns. Sam Flanders is meeting with Mel. There's players and movement just happening absolutely everywhere. And if you want to be covered by everything, just feel free to stick around and subscribe. But firstly, we're going to get into Tom DeKoning. It's a really quick video about why St. Kilda would want him and why St. Kilda would pay him $1.8, $1.9 million, whatever the figure ends up being. Well, it's because he can do things like this. So he has one of the best skill sets as a ruckman. One of the things that makes him so dangerous, that makes him so valuable, on the other hand, is the fact that he leaks out of stoppage so well. So he's able to compete in the ruck, at least get a 0-0 draw, at least halve the contest in the air. But as soon as the ruck contest happens, he leaks out almost every single time. And when we talk about leaking out of a contest, we're talking about creating separation forward from his opposing ruckman. So look at where Lloyd Meek is, and look at where DeKoning is. And what that does is, it forces the other Hawthorn midfielders to take accountability of him. And when they don't, he's able to get out the front of stoppage and do things like this, which we don't see from ruckmen. There's not many ruckmen in the league. There's probably no ruckman in the league that can do things like that. Again, here, we're not really focusing on the ruck work because the ruck work is probably the secondary part of his game. What we're focusing on is his ability to essentially be another midfielder. So again, compete or win the ruck, but his ability at ground level to get hands on the football, and not only get hands on the football, but get clean handballs out to his midfielder. So Sam Walsh is able to run out the front of stoppage, to get away from Cam McKenzie, because he knows, he trusts that Tom DeKoning is going to get his hands on the football and he's going to be able to provide a clean handball out of the stoppage. And if you're coming into a team like St. Kilda, when you've just re-signed Marcus Windhager for a long time, where you've just re-signed Naz, obviously, when you've seen the rise of Max Hall and you've seen the rise of Hugo Garcia towards the back end of the season, the one person that you probably want, the one asset that you probably need, is a distributor in the middle of the ground that can get the ball to you, a dominant force in the middle of the ground that is either going to attract a lot of attention from the opposition midfielders, or he's going to be able to beat his opponent and be able to put himself in a position where he can get the clean hands out of contest. And that is what Tom DeKoning is able to do. He is pure damage for the opposition. And this is what St. Kilda have probably been missing until they put Naz into the middle of the ground. There really just wasn't a whole lot of damage with their ball use. They had Jack McRae rolling through there. They had Jack Steele rolling through there. And when you have these players who can get the football, but can't necessarily open up avenues for themselves to score or for their teammates to score, that's the switch that I think Ross Lyon and this St. Kilda list management team is trying to flick. They're trying to find players that can provide maximum damage. And when they put Naz in there, they found a maximum damage player. And now you're going after a player like Tom DeKoning. If he can do things like this, he's going to open up avenues for himself to score and get the ball moving forward. But he's also going to open up so many avenues for the rest of that St. Kilda midfield to score, essentially. This is the quintessential example of what Tom DeKoning can provide. So again, we're talking about a centre bounce clearance right now and his ability just to halve the contest. He doesn't necessarily have to get a lot of hit outs to advantage, but as soon as this ball hits the ground, it forces Tim English to have to cover him, which is really good for the rest of your midfielders. Now the rest of your midfielders are in one-on-one situations, but as soon as Carlton get hands on the football, Tim English and Tom DeKoning are standing next to each other. They are literally they are literally next to each other at this contest. But what we spoke about at the start was Tom's ability to leak out the front of stoppage. As soon as he realises that Hewitt's going to get hands on his football, he's gone. And he's created this separation, and it forces all of the other midfielders to go and cover him, which could allow the handball over to Sam Walsh. But he's such a good athlete, and he's a relatively good ball user, that going forward inside forward 50, he can hit up players like this. And these two games were at the start of the year, where the first 5 games of the season, he averaged 21 disposals, 6 clearances, and 5 score involvements from the ruck. He was clearly the All-Australian ruck in the first 5 weeks. Now, of course, he did drop off, and I'm going to show a couple of clips of things that he can improve on. But if you can get that version of Tom DeKoning, when they did offer him the $1.8 million at the start of this season, if you can get that version of Tom DeKoning and you implant him into a midfield of Naz, of Windy, of Max Hall, of who's the other one? Hugo Garcia, and you can have these players rolling through. If Jack Higgins wants to go and roll through for a couple of centre bounces, and you can add this sort of player that can damage the opposition by himself or open up avenues for the other midfielders to damage the opposition, that is a midfield that can really, really challenge opposition teams. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a plethora of things that he has to improve in on his game. I think as a ruckman, he's got to get better at marking the football. He's never been a prolific marker of the football, whether that be up forward or as an intercept marker. He's got to get better at that. But another thing that he's got to get better at that we saw towards the end of the year is sometimes just his effort levels. And maybe that's as a result of him knowing or just checking out of the season, knowing that he was going to be going to St. Kilda, but he can't be putting in efforts like this if you're worth $2 million. Now, obviously, this is not a good kick inside forward 50 from Carlton, and it's never been their strength. But you're one-on-one here with Darcy Moore, who is a really good defender, but isn't nearly as big as you are. You can't physically get out-bodied that easily by a bloke like that. You can't get out-marked that easily when you're standing next to each other and the ball is put on your head. Now, that seems bad, but I've just skipped past 15 seconds, and this is literally the next contest. We've got another high ball going inside forward 50. And again, Darcy Moore versus Tom DeKoning right here. Darcy Moore's actually behind him. But look at the ability for Darcy to just create this amount of separation and just no urgency from DeKoning to go and intercept that football or go and create a contest on that on that football. And again here we get another high ball going inside Carlton's forward 50. And look at the separation from DeKoning to Darcy Moore right here. This is 15 metres. This is a 15-metre separation when they were standing next to each other. And he has no urgency. He's jogging on the spot. That's the effort level that was there in round 17 that obviously he's got to pick up. And again, round 17 towards the end of the year, Carlton were basically out of the finals race. He was playing forward. He was being asked to play forward. I don't think he's going to be asked to play forward at St. Kilda. Maybe he already realised that he was out the door. But that level of effort you can't sort of have, and his inability to mark the football at a high level as a ruckman is such an imposing force on the contest as such a big guy. Those are probably the two things that he's got to get better at. But the good thing for St. Kilda fans and St. Kilda are, they're so fixable. Effort is such a fixable thing. Those three efforts are such a fixable thing. The ability to mark the football. We've seen him jump over blokes. We've seen him jump over cars almost. Like we've seen the athleticism. We've seen his ability to run and jump at the football. He's just got to do it more often if he wants to be a really good marking ruckman option for St. Kilda. But if you're a Saints fan, if you can get that first 5 weeks version of Tom DeKoning, I think you're going to be okay. Obviously, plenty more videos to come. We've got a Christian Petrarca video to come. We've got an AFL rule change video to come. What do the AFL rule changes actually mean? Feel free to stick around on my channel and you will see all of these videos coming over the next few weeks and trade period. And then off season, we've got some exciting things planned for the off season. Please feel free to stick around and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'll probably see you this afternoon. Cheers.